Hi, good morning. Welcome to HeKate's Crossing. Right, let's have a look. Right, after watching Becca Talks and Tarot with My Tarot Growth, the hashtag My Tarot Growth, I wanted to sort of talk about my journey and sort of, some of you may have watched the video way before in regards to my first tarot deck or how I started, etc. But let's talk about my tarot growth. What happened is I had been reading a book by Anne Moore called Green Witchcraft, and that sort of started me on the journey of looking into divination. I read books by Silver Raven Wolf and a lot of those sort of witchcrafty Scott Cunningham type books or Wicca books and all that sort of stuff. So I started to explore that area, and tarot came up, and I had an Australian magazine that we were getting by Lucy Cavendish. Now most of you will know her with her books or her meditations, but also with her decks, her tarot and oracle decks. And basically I had looked at Rider-Waite-Smith, I'd looked at a Celtic Tarot. The Celtic Tarot had been by Courtney Davis. And so a girlfriend of mine had the Native American Tarot. And I sort of said, oh, I really like that. You know, where did you... and I started to use it and everything like that, and she's like, buy your own. So I had to go and buy my own deck. So I found my own deck. Now this was over 20 years ago. Okay, this was over 20 years ago, and I began using the Native American Tarot. Now this is my second, actually it might be my third deck now, my third Native American Tarot deck. The first one I had, and then there was a second one, because what was happening at the beginning is I was using only that deck, right? At the time when I got the first set I got was the companion book with the cards, okay, which I felt really important. So I would go through and have a look at the cards. Now at the time I did not know that it was nothing like Rider-Waite-Smith. But that didn't matter, because Rider-Waite-Smith just did not appeal to me in any way whatsoever at that time. So I would begin by reading for myself and learning the cards and that sort of thing, and reading the book and having a look at the lessons and the meditations in the book and everything like that, and really work with this deck, because it really spoke to me really well. So I started doing some really simple medicine wheel type spreads, you know, where you go 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me put the camera down and I'll show you the sort of spreads that I was doing at that time. Okay, let us continue. So the spread that I sort of started with, I would just do some really basic, like the start with like the medicine wheel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, just really quick, you know, and then one in the center. Okay, so that would be sort of my basics, right? And then I started to do look at a bit more of the spreads in the book, and there's one like that looks at the Kachina knife. So you look at the heart of the situation, the past and the future, and then the result. So you muck around with it and just do whatever you felt, you know. I would just go with the flow. And then I started to do different things and start reading for people in a bit more in depth. So this is when I started to really get into quite deep spreads, right? So I'd go in and do, right, so we're going autumn, actually, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Winter. Spring. This table's a bit small. I should have got myself a bit more organised with it, with the everything still on it. And then the summer. And then 3 in the centre. So quite a huge spread when you think about it. Of course, it would be much more spread out. My table would be better organised, and so I'd be looking at your autumn, your winter. So what were you releasing? What you felt sort of was stuck? What was growing, and then what became stable, and then the inner self as well. So quite a big spread, and that's what I was doing for clients, especially at home. And then of course I was invited to do, so I was just reading quietly at home. So my tarot development was starting to really grow. And what happened was I then got the Crystal Alley cards. Now I got the first edition, of course, or you know, the original edition, of course, and the backs were very different and the book was very different, but the same, and they were slightly larger, right? But the same sort of imagery, you know, with the 4 elements. So yeah, really cool deck, photo digital, and I loved working with this. I'd actually seen this in the local store, one of our local stores. So this was my sort of my introduction to it. So I ended up buying the original Crystal Alley deck, and it was quite expensive here in New Zealand. Yeah, it was quite an expensive deck, but it was something that I used all the time. So I would combine them. So here I was using the Native American Tarot in a reading, and then doing a Crystal Alley card as well. And I'm using the book, of course, because the book had all the information that the client needed. Now, when I started, I was invited to do a healthy living expo. Now, I knew I was going to be busy, so a girlfriend said to me, look, just do really quick readings. You're trying to pump people through. There'll be a lot of people waiting. You're not charging a lot. You're only charging $5 because this is your first experience with it. So you want to make them really quick. You're not doing big readings. You're not doing like the $20 and $30 readings. You're doing just a quick $5 introduction, basically. So my introduction was 1, 2, 3, 4. Just really quick. You know, I wanted to make quick. I wasn't trying to be in all the different spaces. It was just a really quick run-of-the-mill reading, and then I would just finish it off with a really quick, without going into any detail, the you know, I go wind. Okay, that's talking about your intuition. Maybe you're listening to your mind and your thoughts, perceptions. And then you've got this, which is a sense of, this one is a sense of courage with bloodstone. So this is definitely about your sense of being grounded, having the courage to actually move ahead on the journey that you actually want to do. So keeping it really simple and really clear. So that was quite good in a way in my learning process, in learning to do really quick readings for $5 at a Healthy Living Expo. After the Healthy Living Expo, I was invited to do monthly psychic fairs. Okay, so I was doing monthly psychic fairs every month, just once a month, doing the psychic fair. Then I was invited to do a different psychic fair on an alternative weekend. So there we are, we've got 2 weekends a month, basically, 2 weekends a month, doing psychic fairs around town, right, around the region, basically. One was in Havelock North and one was in Napier, so completely different places and completely different people. Okay, so did that for a while, and basically that was the only decks that I used. Decks have changed over the years. My deck collection has grown, and then in 2008, I had felt like I had enough experience with what I was doing with 2008, 2007, 2008, somewhere around 2007, 2008. So after doing these monthly expos and psychic fairs, also working from home in a sort of a way, more like going to people's houses. I did a lot of parties and did a lot of like group readings, you know, when you go along and you do like 3 or 4 people in a night. I wouldn't do any more than 3 or 4. I tried to keep it quite like they got good half-hour readings each. So you're doing about 2 to 3, you know, you're doing basically 2 to 3 hours of readings, and I thought that was more than enough, 2 to 3 hours at the time. So that was quite, so my business started to sort of grow and develop, and my reading styles sort of changed. I became much more confident. I started to speak a lot more. My deck collection sort of started to grow a little bit, not too much, and I was actually typing out a lot of my readings as well for people. I was doing a lot of I'd be talking and I would be typing at the same time, and then they would get that full something to take home with. I would photocopy their cards that they could take home with them, you know, so they had a copy. I ended up getting one Adoring Virtues messages from angels or something like that, and ended up where they could take a card home. I bought a deck which I was solely giving out, and there was another little one that I had was Goddess on the Go, and that was another deck that I was giving out cards from as well. And just over time, business changed, business grew, and my reading styles changed with starting to use different decks and things like that. I think that really helped as well. Starting to read with different decks really helped. So anyway, let's go back up to me. So here I am still talking with the thing down. Okay, let's hope that's worked. Oh, sorry guys. Bit of mucking around, isn't it? Oh, I didn't do that very well. 1 minute. Okay, let's try that again, shall we? That's funny. Right, okay. So basically, journey developed, journey grew. And yeah, my practice has changed in lots of ways with the different, being able to work with different decks, being able to have different styles, working with different oracles, working with different divinations, working with Kipper and Sibylla and playing cards, and, you know, trying different things. Anyway, in storage, 2016-17, I found out that a big box from storage had disappeared. Okay, so 2017, I repurchased this deck, of course, with the book, and I started to work with different decks, and I got a few oracle decks, got a Tarot de Marseille, just really sort of mucked around with different, I've got Epic Tarot, the Fairy Lights Tarot, just different decks, and you can see them in my deck collection, and really felt myself growing, developing. I looked at different, different systems, of course, looked at the way the cards were, and really ended up with, this is my last deck, of course, is the Ancient Italian, and really starting to sort of, I really want to explore the the ancient styled sort of tarot decks. So yeah, my practice has changed because I think more about in themes now. You know, I think about, you know, what decks do go together. Like I would never now, really, I don't put the Crystal Alley cards with the Native American, not as a reading. Now I would do the shamanic spirit cards, shamanic medicine cards, should I say. And with the crystal cards, I'd be more likely to put the chakra wisdom tarot. So that's where I think my practice has changed. I've thought about more about what cards actually go together, what cards really speak of the same theme. I think that's what's really important to me at the moment, is about thinking about how cards correlate with each other and connect, and that energy is so different. So yes, I believe my tarot journey has grown, has developed, has changed. Also incorporating like the Thoth styled tarot, Rider-Waite, and then working out the Rider-Waite-Smith type, and then the Tarot de Marseille, working more with numbers and suits, and how they how different decks create different meanings slightly, and so all those things sort of come into play. So that's sort of been me, really. That's been my tarot growth. So just a really quick, really short video in regards to my tarot growth and how I've changed over the years. Yeah, my spreads are a bit more free flow maybe. Unless I'm working more with a client, I may do a specific spread for the client depending on what they need. I mean, readings vary, where before I think I was quite rigid with my layouts. Now I seem a bit more flexible, which I think just comes with time, comes with practice, comes with just the journey. So yeah, my deck collection has grown. It is over, when you look at tarot and oracle and all the playing cards and all that sort of stuff, I am looking at, you know, over 80 decks, nearly 90. Might even be over 90 now. I need to relook at the data crow. See, that's the other thing. I mean, when I first sort of started reading tarot, there was no need to catalogue it. Now, with the collection that I've had in the last 3 years, that I've built in the last 3 years, definitely a good idea to catalogue your decks. It definitely makes it easier. Okay, that's it from me. Take care. Thanks Becca for putting this together. This is a great little tag. Can't wait to see what other people have talked about with their tarot growth. So yeah, take care, blessed be. Don't forget to check out the links below, check out the links on my channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you know when the next video will come through. Take care and blessed be.